Reinforcement. Reinforcement can be defined as a stimulus or event that increases the likelihood that behavior will be repeated. Reinforcer. It is any stimulus that increases the probability that a response will occur. A reinforcer is a stimulus, whereas reinforcement is the effect of the stimulus. For example, candy can be reinforcer because it is a stimulus. Now, just think the other dimension. That is, a piece of candy is not reinforcement, its effect on a person can be an example of reinforcement. A positive reinforcer is a stimulus that strengthens the desired behavior and increases the probability of the occurrence of that behavior. Positive reinforcers tend to be pleasant stimuli. For example, in the Skinner's box, food pellets are pleasant stimuli that serve as positive reinforcer. A negative reinforcer also strengthens a behavior, but it does so by eliminating something that is unwanted. For example, in the Skinner's box, if a mild current were turned on in the electric grid that runs through the floor of the box, and if this current were turned off only when the rat depressed the lever, turning off the current would be an example of an aversive stimulus serving as a negative reinforcer. According to B.F. Skinner, reinforcer can be primary reinforcer or generalized reinforcer. A primary reinforcer is a stimulus that is naturally reinforcing, such as food, drink, or sex. These stimuli, food, drink, or sex, are related to an unlearned need or drive. Stimuli that satisfy these drives tend to be highly reinforcing for most of the organisms. They are referred to as positive stimuli. A generalized reinforcer is a stimulus which has acquired reinforcing properties through repeated pairings with other reinforcers under various situations. The stimulus, which was previously neutral, now becomes reinforcing for many behaviors. For example, if an animal is always fed from a stainless steel plate, the plate itself comes to acquired reinforcing properties because it is regularly associated with the food. In operant conditioning, positive and negative do not mean good and bad. Instead, positive means you are adding something, and negative means you are taking something away. Reinforcement means you are increasing a behavior, and punishment means you are decreasing a behavior. Reinforcement can be positive or negative, and punishment can also be positive or negative. All reinforcers, positive or negative, increase the likelihood of a behavioral response. All punishers, positive or negative, decrease the likelihood of a behavioral response. Many people confuse negative reinforcement with punishment in operant conditioning, but they are two very different mechanisms. Remember that reinforcement, even when it is negative, always increases a behavior. In contrast, punishment always decreases a behavior. In positive punishment, you add an undesirable stimulus to decrease a behavior. An example of positive punishment is scolding a student to get the student to stop texting in class. In this case, a stimulus, the reprimand, is added in order to decrease the behavior, texting in class. In negative punishment, you remove a pleasant stimulus to decrease a behavior. For example, when a child misbehaves, a parent can take away a favorite toy. In this case, a stimulus, the toy, is removed in order to decrease the behavior.